Alright guys, so recently I've decided to hop back on Unchained, and for the most part, if you've watched my content before or anything related to Unchained on my channel, I highly prefer the going second build. But with the release of the new field spell in Brothers of Legend, I decided to mess around with the going first build. Through a little bit of testing, I still really like this the going second build a lot better. But hey, maybe I just don't have the correct ratios yet. So we're still messing around with things. We're playing around with certain cards and techs, and we'll see where things go. So in this matchup, we are going up against Drytron, which, as you know, is a very difficult matchup, especially when you lose the dice roll in a going first Unchained deck, because it is very difficult to break that board. So for our opening hand, we have a Solemn Strike, Sarama, Torrential Tribute, Terraforming in order. This hand would have been absolutely crazy going first. And our opponent opened up with Cyber Emergency, Chaos Max, very interesting, Drytron Nova, another Cyber Emergency, and a copy of Eva. So let's see what they decide to do. So they decide to open up with the Cyber Emergency. It was this or that, honestly. It's probably the obvious play here. They're going to add a copy of Zeta. They're going to activate Drytron Nova. So they have Zeta Alpha here, which is basically full combo. So here comes the Alpha. They're going to link off the Alpha, go into a copy of Link Karibo. From there, they're going to activate Alpha's effect, tributing the Zeta from their hand, summoning out Alpha. This is going to add them a copy of Ben 10. And now here comes the obvious play of them using Zeta effect, tribute Ben 10, summon out Zeta here, use Ben 10 effect. Well, they didn't use the correct chain link order, bro. I'm not going to shark them here. I don't really care. They're going to add the Drytron Meteonis. They're going to add a copy of Diviner of Herald as well. Next, they're going to overlay into the Beta Fafnir here. Probably going to send the Gamma, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they opt for the Gamma here. Next, they're going to normal summon the Diviner. Diviner is going to send a copy of Herald of the Arclight here. Arclight is going to add them a copy of Herald of Ultimateness, which is going to be very difficult for us to deal with. Jokes, we open Solemn Strike, so we're pretty set here. We don't have to worry about that. Solemn Strike and Torrential Tribute, honestly, is such a cracked opening together, because you can just set these, and it doesn't matter if your opponent has an Omni Negate for the Torrential. You just strike whatever tries to negate it, and then you end up clearing their entire board after. So they're going to end up activating the Meteonis, summoning out the Ben 10, using the Fafnir's XYZ material as the fodder for the Ben 10 here. Next, they're going to activate the Gamma, tributing Ben 10, bringing out Gamma and Zeta. Ben 10 will activate. Man, just the amount of resources that this deck generates is absolutely insane. So Ben 10 is going to add a copy of Edatin here. Meteonis will activate, reducing the Gamma, adding itself back to hand, activating the Meteonis. And the fact that this is not once per turn where you can use the material for a ritual summon is just nuts. Edatin will summon, adding back the Meteonis to hand. He's going to overlay into a Beatrice here. So in case you've forgotten, Diviner sent the Herald of Arclight, making it a level 6. Beatrice will activate here, and he'll send a copy of Imperial Order to the graveyard. Not typically what we see off the Beatrice send here, because for the most part, if they're sending off Beatrice, they're probably doing it in order to get a copy of Herald of Orange, I was going to say Herald of Orange Arclight, just Herald of Orange Light to their hand. They're going to go into a Barricade blocker here. Again, not a very standard line of play, which is another reason why I chose this replay to show you guys. I think this is a very cool line here. They're going to go into the Auroradon here. So they needed the Barricade board blocker because they needed the machine. They're going to make 3 tokens here, activating the Auroradon effect to tribute 3 monsters in order to add 1 trap from their graveyard to their hand. Order is a very interesting choice to add to your hand in Drytron, because if your opponent breaks your board and you have an Order live, you are kind of not putting yourself in a very great situation. But then I guess if your opponent can break your board, they probably obviously lose from there. And if for whatever reason it does hinder you, you can just use the Auroradon to pop it. Or I believe if you can get the access to the to the Diviner, then you can send Antis and pop it as well. So yeah, very interesting. So their end board is the Auroradon, the Ultimateness, Beatrice, and a set order. Honestly, it's just the Ultimateness that we have to worry about here, not much else. So we are going to go into the standby phase where they will activate the Beatrice here. They're gonna Oh, is this where they get the orange light? I believe this is... Oh, no, they don't even get the orange light here. They just sent a copy of Delta, which is very interesting. No idea why they went for this line of play, but yeah. We'll go into main phase 1 here. Activate the terraforming. I know they have the Imperial Order, and in case you guys are wondering, why would you activate the spell when you know they're probably most likely just going to chain the Order here? And the thing is, I want them to activate Order, right? Because Order is going to be a problem for them on their own turn, because if all I have to worry about is the Auroradon, Herald, and the Beatrice, that's not going to be much of a problem, because I want to set the Sarama, I want to set the Strike, and I want to set the Torrential alongside my own copy of Order. So if they can out their own Order, it's okay, I have Order. And if they want to do another line of play, I have Torrential, they try to negate, I can Strike. So if I can get them to hinder their own place and force them into an uncomfortable situation by making them flip their own Order, that's exactly what I want to do here. So they do set the Order, they do take the bait here, and all I'm going to do here is set Sarama, set 3, pass. Yeah, Gamma's dead in our hand, but so what? We have the perfect out to Herald here. So they're gonna pay 700 in their standby phase, go into their main phase. They did top deck the Impermanence, which won't be doing anything here, but you guys will see something very cool down the line. So they decide to activate the Alpha here, pitching the Chaos Max from their hand. And from here, they will summon out the Alpha. I'm not tempted to use the Torrential yet, which I would say is pretty greedy. Because if they go into an access code, it's going to be a little bit awkward for me if they are running it. So yeah, again, probably not the best play on my part, just holding the Torrential here. Because again, like I'm telling you, the access would be a very, very hard punish for me. So yeah, they're going to add the Draconids, whatever, to their hand off of the Alpha. They're going to use the Meteonis effect, reducing Alpha by 1,000 to add it to hand. And I presume they do want to get the Order out of here, otherwise they wouldn't be going through all this trouble. So we're just waiting to see what they do here. They're going to use the Zeta effect, tributing the Alpha. That'll add them another Meteonis to hand. From there, they're going to use a copy of Zeta, pitching the Draconids, summoning Zeta, going to reveal a Meteonis in order to draw a card. Let's see what they top deck here. They top deck an Emergency, not really a big deal whatsoever, because they can't use it because they still have the Order up. They're going to Xyz into Phoenix. Phoenix is going to discard a copy of Emergency, targeting my set Torrential, and here I'm absolutely forced to use the Torrential in response. I know they're going to try to negate this with Herald, but we are 100% ready. We have the Solemn Strike here, we negate the Herald, and boom, that's a big problem card, immediately cleared off the board. The Auroradon is cleared off the board as well. So we don't have to worry about it popping its own Imperial Order, because I believe it can, right? Yeah, it destroys any one card in the field. So Ava is going to activate. They still get to draw Phoenix because it was co-linked when it was activated. And we do get our Sarama effect here as well, and that is going to be okayed. Sarama will summon out the Rakea here, and this is going to be very important down the line. Unfortunately, you can't summon Sarama off Sarama. That would have been pretty cracked. But again, maybe not in this situation because it's not like we have any setup in our graveyard. So our opponent will add the Diviner and the Orange Light to hand. So the Orange Light is kind of scary, and it's really unfortunate for them that they don't have anything to discard along the Orange Light here, because that would have been absolutely terrifying for us. So they're going to activate the Diviner here, sending a copy of Entis. Entis will activate, popping their own Imperial Order. From there, they're going to activate their Fafnir, and I shotgun the Order here. I don't know if I really had to, because it just adds a Drytron spell trap. I probably could have just held it for something else. It's not really a big deal. But yeah. So they're going to just set one. They're going to set the Imperm under the Imperial Order with the hopes of negating my Rakea in order to negate the Order on their own following turn. We unfortunately top deck the Driver. It doesn't do anything. Not much we can do. We just got to pay for the Order, go into battle phase, swing over the Diviner here. And that's going to be the end of our turn. So, they do top deck the Ash, which is pretty nice. Ash is decently good against Unchained because the cards do float in the graveyard. And they do special summon from the deck. So, here my opponent is going to start off the main phase by using the Impermanence to try and negate Rakea. Now, in case you don't know, in order for Imperm to negate the spell trap column that it's in, it has to actually negate the effect of the monster. So, what I do here is I take a moment to think. I can target my Rakea, pop my Rakea, And the only downside here is that I can't special summon off of popping my own Rakea with Rakea. But if it means that my opponent can't play for the rest of their turn, it's probably worthwhile here. And if for whatever reason they can, I'm lucky I do have Gamma. Hopefully that is enough for them to not be able to play. And my opponent thinks that the Imperial Order is negated, but I tell them it's not. They call a judge. There's no judges online at the time I was playing this, so I send them the ruling from Pojo. And eventually they realized that I am correct and we can proceed with the duel. Thank God I didn't have to sit there for like 4 hours waiting for a judge at like 2 a.m. in the morning. So we top deck the chamber. Doesn't do anything that turn. Just gotta hope that our opponent doesn't have a way to play. And thankfully they don't. So they pass on that. We're sitting on the chamber. I didn't want to use it here just because I mean it would automatically turn off my Gamma. And it's not like 1500 is lethal or anything. So yeah, honestly, even if I went for the bomb play, I didn't have lethal. I had 6k max, so I just didn't go for it. My opponent tops the Diviner, and we chained the Gamma here. I know they have the Orange Light in hand still, so this entire time I was just praying that they didn't have another fairy in hand out of the other 5 potential cards that I don't know in their hand. Well, not 5. I guess I know they have double Meteonis. But yeah, I was just hoping they didn't have another fairy, and thankfully they did not. And this is getting really down to the wire here because we are losing life points every single turn with order. We top deck the Extravagance, but unfortunately we just can't use it here. So here I do decide to use the chamber. I feel like I just can't hold off on it any longer. We are going to bring back the Sarama here, and then Sarama will activate her effect, targeting the chamber, setting the chamber, popping the escape. I feel like I have enough setup here to feel safe. Unfortunately, they do Ash here, and they had it the previous turn. And now that I think about it, maybe there was potential for me to have lethal on the previous turn. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't see it at that point in time, so I probably didn't. So Sarama will swing for 15. And yeah, we're just going to pass our turn there, unfortunately. So they do draw another Orange Light. So that's kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, they're just gonna set one, which honestly, I don't know if that was the right play. Maybe they should just held it in hand just in case it negates something. I don't know. But yeah, we're just gonna go to main phase 1 after top decking Torrential Tribute. We're gonna activate the Sarama here. We're gonna target the escape, and I think setting the Orange Light really cost them the game here, 100% guaranteed. Because here we just get to pop the escape. Escape gets to special summon out the bomb, and we have the set chamber here. So if they didn't have a negate for the escape, or sorry, yeah, for the escape, then really there's not much else they can do here. Like they literally have to have Valor or maybe a set Imprem, and obviously they didn't set anything, so we're not really worried all that much about that. And it's Drytron, so again, not really worried about them playing Valor. So as soon as that resolves, I know it's game. We're gonna pop the face down. They should know that this last card is Chamber. So yeah, we're just going to go into battle phase here, swing for 15, swing for 3k, and then we would have revived the Rakea, swung for game. So going into game number 2, oddly enough, our opponent makes us go first. Very interesting decision. We do draw the dog, we draw the DD Crow, we draw Solemn Strike, and we draw an Imperm. And we also drew a second Solemn Strike. The replay was just way too fast. It said it before I had a chance to pause. But yeah, that's our opening hand. Our opponent opened up with Alpha, Diviner, Imperm, Diviner, and Alpha. Not like the worst opening, right? So we end up setting Solemn Strike, double Solemn Strike and Imperm, because at this point I'm like, I gotta set everything. Drytron has a lot of way to gather resources, and the deck is just really oppressive, right? Like you need all you can get in order to deal with this deck. So yeah, we're just all in here. If they have the Lightning Storm, they have the Evenly, they have it. It is what it is at this point. So we're just hoping that this is enough. Our opponent is going to normal summon the Diviner here. We're going to Imperm that immediately if we don't want them to get access to Beatrice in order to send cards to the graveyard. Going to use the Alpha in hand here, pitching Alpha. And guys, I'm going to tell you this one time. If you are ever unsure about how something works, never be afraid to ask. No matter how stupid you look or how stupid you think you might look, it's always better to be 100% certain that something works as opposed to not working. So they did send the I can't even talk there. They sent the Alpha off of Alpha. It just says other monsters, so they are able to do it as far as I'm aware. Yeah, I just have to double check there. Better safe than sorry, right? If I look stupid, I look stupid too. Doesn't matter. So they special summon the Alpha here. They're going to add a copy of Ben 10, which is absolutely perfect for them. They're going to link off the Alpha here, going to the Link Repo, just go to battle phase, and yeah, not a very scary board at all. They weren't able to do much here. They do have follow-up with the Ben 10 for the next turn, I believe. But yeah, they have double Imperm, we have double Strike. So let's see what happens here. We top deck an Escape of the Unchained. Awful top deck, absolutely not playable at the moment. They top deck the Lightning Storm, so hey, we went balls deep and we didn't get punished for it. It looks like they were playing the Storm. So now they're going to activate the Alpha on their turn, tributing the Ben 10, to which we will chain the DD Crow, because if Ben 10 isn't in graveyard on resolution, they're not going to be able to resolve it, and just getting rid of the Ben 10 in this game is going to be very, very crucial, because this deck is just very capable of recycling Ben 10 multiple times, and that is going to make it very difficult to deal with. So the faster we get rid of it, the better. They will still get the Alpha here and add a copy of Edaton off the Alpha. They're going to normal summon another copy of Herald, and we're just going to strike this couple. We don't want them to send Antis. We don't want them to send Arclight. We just don't want them to play at all. And we know that they probably don't have very many starters or very many options considering their weak opening. So if we can stop the Diviner here, it's probably very, very important. So they are going to go into a Phoenix here, and I'm going to let them use the effect to discard and pop a card. And this is very important. You don't want to negate the summon here, because we know that they really want their resources, right? So if we can make them neg on their resources, giving them less cards to play with, that is absolutely crucial. Lucky for us as well, they are going to target Escape of the Unchained. This is absolutely perfect for us. Actually, oh, yeah, I forgot. I didn't even strike this period because I waited to see what the target was. If their target was Strike, obviously I would have hit this. But since their target was the Escape, hey, that's fine. Go for it, because I know they are absolutely digging for resources here, and this was the perfect card to get popped. So I predicted in my head that they were going to go for a Unicorn next and try to spin my last back row, and then when they pitch the card for Unicorn, that is when I'm going to strike them. So off of the Escape, I am going to summon out a copy of Rakea, which I summoned out just in case that they were going to go into battle phase and run this over, because we can't summon Sarama off of Sarama, and Sarama is really the one that we want on the field. So if anything, I can just crash the Rakea after if it comes, like, if worst comes to worst, right? So from here, I was correct. My opponent does go into the Unicorn here. They pitch another card targeting my Rakea. I'm just going to strike the effect here. And they even make sure to ask after, are you striking the summon or the effect? Because they probably wanted to keep the Meteonis in their hand. So yeah, very, very important. Try to make your opponent neg as many resources as possible. So yeah, that's it for the Unicorn. That's it for their turn as well. We top decked the Chamber, which would have been really, really nice here. Unfortunately, they do have the Imperm set. But hey, whatever. We also get to burn out one of their Imperms, which is also a win for us. So we set the Chamber here. We are going to use the Rakea, attempting to pop it. They're going to Imperm it. That's completely fine. We're just going to go into battle phase, swing for 15, and that'll be the end of our turn. This is a grindy, grindy game. But man, these are the games that are so fun. Like I know it seems like my opponent is just breaking a lot, but you also got to realize that I'm also holding my cards for the correct opportune plays. I'm making the correct decisions, and I'm walking you guys through like my mindset of what I'm thinking when I'm making these plays. It's not just like, oh, well, my opponent break the activate strike, I win, haha, so easy, right? Like, there is some thinking, there is some logic here, and that's the way that you guys should be approaching your games. So my opponent is going to be activating the Alpha here, tributing the Chaos Max Dragon. Very interesting choice. I did talk to them after, actually, well, kind of, not really talk to them, but like after the game ended, and they told me that their theory was they wanted to make me go first because they wanted to try to OTK me with Chaos Max, and I assume they probably wanted to just negate the Unchained that I would have hypothetically probably set with the hero that they brought out, which I mean isn't the worst strategy. This does double piercing damage, which is pretty scary. So they're gonna activate the Meteonis, reducing this by 1,000, totally fine. Adding the Meteonis to hand, they're gonna use the Meteonis, bringing out the Chaos Max. That is an absolutely scary card. Thankfully for us, we have this in attack mode, so we don't have to do any really annoying line of play where Rakea pops itself, we do get to float here. So they're just going to swing over the Rakea, deal 2,500. That is a lot of damage, but we do get to activate the Rakea here, which will bring out the Sarama. And yeah, that's going to be the end of their turn. So in the end phase, I will activate the Chamber here just to have it in the graveyard ready for Sarama to target. And also because I did want to see what I top deck, and just to have a possible line of play where I could go Rakea, pop Sarama to dodge the Imperm. But the problem with that is you do get locked into Fiends, and then you won't be able to go into like an access code line, which is probably our only out to Chaos Max. But it is better to be safe than sorry, like I said previously in this video. So that is a bit of precaution that we took with the line of play there. So we top deck the Aruha, which is very nice. In case my opponent has the Imperm, I know exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use the Sarama effect on Chamber, which oddly enough, they do allow. And if that resolves, that's absolutely perfect for me, because that means I can set Chamber, pop Chamber, summon out my bomb, and use the bomb to pop the Unknown back row, which is the card that we're worried about, because after that, we're not worried about anything whatsoever. So the bomb comes out here. A bomb is going to pitch the Disaster, because that card is absolutely dead in our hand. And yeah, it's non-targeting, so they're going to be forced to use the Imperm. They're going to target the Rakea, which is absolutely nothing here. We do not care about that whatsoever. We're going to normal summon Aruha, and then we're just going to link off, go into a copy of Anguish. We're going to Anguish target the Alpha, and unfortunately, I did forget that they did have the Link Karibo in graveyard, so I got absolutely destroyed here. Yikes. Okay. So they do bring out the Link Karibo, and unfortunately that means the Anguish will not be able to resolve to link off here. And now we have to think, how do we make sure we don't die to Chaos Max the following turn? So what happens here is I switch this into attack, because if this pierces over this, it's absolutely game. And also if this attacks into this, it's absolutely game. And if I leave the Link Karibo up and try to force him to run over the Anguish, it's still game, because that will be 1900, just 200 over game. So I am forced to go into the, or no, I don't even go into battle phase. Oops, I just go into the Access Code Talker anyways. I completely forgot. Wow, I just rambled on for no reason. I completely forgot what I did there. But that was something I was considering, and then I guess I remembered I can go to Access Code anyways. But the thing with this line of play is if my opponent draws a top deck that they can play with, and this dies, I have no follow-up, because at least with these two, like, it floats, right? Like, they both float. I get some resources back. But yeah, I guess I just had to out the Chaos Max no matter what. And it also sucks that I didn't go into the Link 2 here, because if I did go into the Link 2, I could have banished the Link 2 instead of the Anguish here. And if I top deck Sarama, then I could have Sarama set Disaster, pop Disaster, summon out the Anguish. So yeah, something to keep in mind if you are playing Unchained. We do go into the battle phase here. We run over the Chaos Max, and let's see what our opponent top decks. They top deck a Twin Twister. Absolutely does not do anything here. All we need is one monster, and we win the game. Can we draw a monster? Our opponent is going to just pass on this, I believe. Oh, nope. What? Okay, I'm wrong. They don't pass on this. That's fine. They tribute the I to 10. Summon out the Alpha here. Alpha, or they're going to activate the Meteonis here, targeting the Alpha, reducing it by 1,000. Adding the Meteonis to hand. This is probably the same as passing. This doesn't do anything. I forgot they were at 52, this is at 53, so they absolutely had to do this line of play. They had no choice. But yeah, we have to top a monster to win this game. Can we do it? We top deck a Sarama. We're absolutely cracked. That is going to be game. We are going to normal summon the Sarama, and they're just going to scoop it up. That is the end of the game. Obviously, they're not too happy, because any play starter there could have absolutely turned it for them, because if they out the Access Code Talker, I have no follow-up whatsoever. They probably would have had a way to interrupt Sarama. So yeah, what an absolutely crazy game. I hope you guys enjoyed that replay, and I hope you found it a little bit educational, so that way you can learn the intricacies of playing competitively and maybe a little bit of Unchained tips and tricks. If you did enjoy the video, please do remember to like and subscribe. It'll help me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bear signing off. Peace, guys.